Director Mike McGhee from Cedar Creek High School. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Morning, Sully. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for joining us. I know you're down there in Florida on vacation a little bit, and thanks for hopping on board.
No problem. Anytime. Thank you.
Just wanted to catch up with you real quick as the summer goes on here. You guys are about did you just have your first graduating class? Is that correct? In terms of 4 years?
So this is our second graduating class in terms of 4 years. Yes.
Okay, cool. So you guys are, a very new school in the Cape Atlantic League. Just wanted to kind of catch up and get your thoughts on where the athletic program is now and what it's taken to build it up to where you guys are competitive in a lot of sports.
Absolutely. I tell you what, the first thing we had was a tremendous amount of support getting these programs up and running. Interesting enough, starting from scratch isn't as easy as everyone would think it would be. We've had a lot of support, the foundation was really set by our principal, James Rayner. Him and Scott Parker, for the first year, got these programs set. We had independent schedules for the first year, pretty much in all sports. The Cape Atlantic League was fantastic with us, getting us games, helping to get us games. We went independent. As I said, first year football, we traveled all over state, outside the state. And it was really just settling in to the Cape. As I said, I think I have, out of my 23 coaches, 17 of them have been brought up and played through the Cape Atlantic League. So they were mostly familiar with the Cape Atlantic League. And it's been a blessing to start something brand new, though. It's been pretty neat.
We're talking with Mike McGhee, Cedar Creek Athletic Director. Mike, how neat is it to have guys above you? You mentioned Reyna and Parker. Those guys are former athletes and still competing, a little bit, as far as I know, in baseball and that kind of thing. How great is it as an athletic director to have people in the administration who understand sports and understand everything that goes into a high school athletic program?
It's the first thing you can ask for as an athletic director. They understand the time commitment and the needs, what these student athletes put in, from everything from the grounds, just getting the fields prepared, to knowing what it takes to be a winner, to do the right things on the field, in the classroom first and foremost, and all the times these kids put in outside the classroom to prepare themselves from the start of summer, from July 1 on. And, we have a brand new superintendent, John Keenan. He came down from North Jersey. He understands. He was a coach for many years up in North Jersey. So, again, the support we have from the superintendent through James Rayner to, even Scott Parker starting off the programs has been nothing but fantastic. And you can't ask for anything more. I mean, you really need the support to have thriving programs, and we have it over there at Cedar Creek.
Talking with Mike McGhee, Cedar Creek Athletic Director. Mike, talk a little bit about the state of Cedar Creek athletics and, compared to what expectations you might have had about 4 or 5 years ago about where this athletic program would be, 4 or 5 years into it.
Well, I'll tell you, it varies sport per sport. Some we started off and had tremendous success with. I mean, our girls' basketball program started off with Franny Rafe, and they shot out like a cannon. I mean, they got things running. They really set the tone in that building. Timmy Watson in the football program. Other sports we started slow. Like I think you and I were talking about the boys and girls lacrosse programs. We had 57 girls out last year for girls lacrosse and about 50 boys. Some of those kids never picked up a stick before, and that was uncommon in the Cape Atlantic League. But again, it's the same starting programs from brand new. We've seen it. We've had very much success with some programs, and some are where you think they would be at this point in time. The one positive thing I think across all programs was really just setting the foundation. One thing I know Mr. Rain and I talked about from day one, and including Scott Parker, was we wanted to really make these community programs. So we've making sure our kids, we have Team GPA awards. I mean, we have a mandatory study halls per sport, at least one per week. We do community service activities for each sport, and I think it sets the tone. Our student involvement in our school right now is absolutely fantastic. I mean, we're from a percentage standpoint, we're way above the means of where we are. The students really are setting the tone in that building, and we just got to keep things going in the right direction.
Mike, talk about this a little bit real quick. How important it is for administrators to really set up a program for these athletes to where you're not only teaching the sports, but you're also teaching like you said, community service, leadership skills. There's so much competitiveness as these kids grow up and try to get into college and stuff like that. And they really need a much wider background than they might have needed 20, 25 years ago. For instance, when I was getting out of high school, and you really need to be very diverse in terms of not only your sport, but what you do off the field and how you conduct yourself and all that kind of stuff. How important is that for you guys as an athletic program, and what kind of things do you do to get these kids to understand that, hey, there's going to be a lot expected of you at the next level?
Well, I tell you what, our kids get it from all angles. You could walk down the hallway one day after school, and you could have James Rayner talking to the girls soccer program. The next day, you could have another teacher in our building talking to the boys football program. We've created a program, we work with a guy by the name of Uriah, who brought in the Power 10 program to preach to our kids and say, listen, first and foremost, extracurricular activities, athletic programs in high school, you're here to have fun. But these programs can teach you life skills outside of the playing field, outside of the classroom. You're here to get an education. It's one thing we continue to preach. And again, some of our coaches, they go above and beyond. I mean, Timmy Watson just got back from the University of Notre Dame. They took our kids down there on a trip, and part of that was, Timmy talked about the bus ride down there alone, just creating that atmosphere to work with the kids and say, listen, they're constantly preaching to these kids, enjoy your time. It goes by fast, but when you leave here, we want you to win with just more than wins and losses. There's a whole set of foundations with athletics can teach you guys that you're going to need in college. And the great thing I think at Cedar Creek right now, I think we're in a world of a lot of kids playing one sport. We have a tremendous amount of kids playing multi-sport athletes right now, which is fantastic. I think because the more coaches you can get involved in, the more programs, it's only going to better you as a person down the road. So you're going to take positive things and negative things from each program, and it's going to mold you into the person you are when you graduate high school.
Talking with Mike McGhee, athletic director over at Cedar Creek High School. They're kind of a newer school, newer athletic program, just a couple years into things. Mike, wanted to talk real quick before we let you go. Lacrosse is such a big sport around here. It's really booming, and you see that with the addition of teams at your school, at Holy Spirit, at Atlantic City. Talk a little bit about what it took to get these girls and boys lacrosse programs off the ground. I know we talked a little bit about this in the spring, back in April, about just what an undertaking this was, particularly the boys, because you have so much equipment to deal with, uniforms and all that stuff. How long did it take to really get these programs up and running?
Well, the good thing about us over Cedar Creek is we have two sister schools, Oakcrest and Absegami, and they had already started getting their programs up and running over there. So we got on, and we had the support first and foremost of our Board of Education. We were nervous. I think, Saul, you and I were talking about before, being a Group 2 school, we were nervous being that size of what it was going to do to our other programs like baseball and crew, softball, track and field. We've seen a little drop in our track and field numbers, but right now I think it has been able to get out a lot of other kids that were maybe not participating much in the springtime. And really from day one, the support from the Board of Ed. I mean, of course, the boys program costs a lot more money just because of the extra equipment, and that's the first and foremost. Then it was us being a small school, finding out where we're going to play the sport. Right now, we're utilizing our girls soccer program and fields, the field hockey fields, and then after all that's said and done, and you have all the support of everyone, then it's teaching the kids the game. And really, we found a hard time trying to find coaches who really understood the game. We were lucky to have two young people who played it either through club or maybe a year or two in college. So we wound up getting what we wound up doing is calling officials in, teaching our kids the game. We called the Stockton Girls Program over the past couple of years. They work with our kids. So I think it's a great time in South Jersey. I think we talked about before, me growing up down here, the only time I saw lacrosse sticks was on the beach, and kids were coming from New York or Maryland.
Yeah, right. You were telling me about that.
So it's been an interesting time, but the kids are really loving the sport. It's pretty neat to watch them flourish. I mean, from the day one, them picking up a stick, not even knowing how to hold it, to the end of the season, seeing these kids throw the ball around a little bit, run up and down the field, it's been pretty neat.
We're talking with Mike McGhee, Cedar Creek Athletic Director. Before we let you go, Mike, I just wanted to get a kind of a feel for the student athlete there at Cedar Creek. I've been impressed with just how much school spirit they have for a new school. They really get behind the programs. You see a lot of student athletes out at football games, basketball games, baseball games. Other teams will stop by a baseball game when their practice is over. It seems like the kids there at that school really enjoy the athletics they're involved in, and not only the teams they play on, but all the other teams, and it seems like they all really get along well and really have a lot of school pride.
Absolutely. I think if you ask me one thing about Cedar Creek High School right now, and it is the atmosphere in that building. It started from that first class. They came in as sophomores, even at the freshman class, the sophomore freshman class. That whole time they went through. And a lot had to do with the leadership in that building. As I said, from James Rain to the principal, Scott Parker, the teachers we had have still, every single one of them have an impact in that building. And, going on that girls' basketball run that year, we had sellouts to that gym, and it really said a lot about the kids who would come back and support. And what you wind up seeing, too, it's not just the only support in certain programs. These kids come out, and they'll support the football team, but the football team will support the girls' soccer team and vice versa. It's been a really neat experience. So we're at that 5-6 year mark now. We're like, okay, how do we keep this going? The newness is getting over a little bit. How do we keep this going? And it's been a challenge each year that I know Mr. Reyna puts out to the staff and we put out to the students, keep this atmosphere going in the building. And these students haven't let us down yet. They've been fantastic.
Outstanding. Thanks for taking a few minutes with us, Mike. Safe travels back to Jersey, and enjoy the rest of your summer. We'll be catching up with you soon.
Absolutely. I want to thank you again for all you do for the Cape Atlantic League, man. You're awesome.
No problem. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, man. Bye-bye.
All right. That was Mike McGhee, Cedar Creek Athletic Director. Nice to catch up with him. And